is going on, y'all? And welcome back to the Locks DFS NHL Breakdown. I'm your host, Narang, and I'll be breaking down this 8-game main slate on DraftKings and FanDuel for Saturday, March 2nd. Before I get into that, though, just a few procedural things. First off, if you guys could like and comment on this video, that'd be awesome. Not only does it mean a lot for me as far as gaining traction on this video and getting it more views, but you will be entered into winning our free season pass. As always, we run the same weekly giveaway where we look at people who are consistently liking and leaving positive comments or cool comments on our video. Really, it can be constructive criticism, of course. Doesn't always have to be positive. So we're looking for people who are active members, active watchers, and we're hooking them up with a free season pass just as a thank you. We pick one person every week and announce that on Sunday, which is tomorrow. So make sure you guys enter into that giveaway. And if you guys want to follow me on Twitter, you can do so right here at ReallyAddy. It's where I tweet. No, not much to say there. So with all that being said, let's jump into this 8-game slate because I'm going to scroll through the Vegas totals and you guys can see that we have a crazy slate on our hands. Hopefully they load. Everything tends to load a little bit slower once I open up QuickTime. So maybe we can just kill two birds by loading everything at once. So if we look at the Vegas totals, we see that we have some massive team totals early. We got Toronto at 4-1. We have Tampa Bay sitting at 4-5, rising to 4-6. We'll talk about that in detail. We have Boston rising from 3-9 to 4, and we have a shootout in Pittsburgh, Montreal, as well as a night hammer with Calgary at home facing a Zach Parise less Minnesota team that has been fairly bad defensively over the past 10 games. So lots to talk about. And I think the best point to sort of start talking about this, as you guys know, we dive into the high price centers first off, and staring us in the face are the two highest price centers, Steven Stamkos and Brayden Point. And that kind of just brings us to Tampa Bay in general. So let me make this super, super clear. Tampa Bay players are amazing plays today, but if you want to fade them, let me give you a case as to why. So if we filter this by all teams last 10 games at all strengths, and we look at how many high danger chances four teams are creating, we see that Tampa Bay is generating the second lowest high danger chances for over the past 10 days. You see the teams they're surrounded by, the New Jersey Devils, who have nobody on them, the LA Kings, who have been trash all year, and then Tampa is sort of situated in there all nicely. But then you think to yourself, Tampa's been winning, they've been scoring goals, how's that been happening? And if we keep scrolling over to shooting percentage, we can see that Tampa leads the league by a decent margin at almost a 0.55, which is decent considering looking at the third and fourth place team. So they lead the league in shooting percentage. The average shooting percentage, I would say, would sit around here, maybe even in this high 8 range. So for Tampa to be shooting 5% above the league average is due for some fairly stark regression. You would assume so. Obviously, they have incredibly talented players: Nikita Kucherov, Steven Stamkos, Brayden Point, which is why these guys are shooting so high. But it's just worth mentioning. This is why a lot of you guys ask me why I don't have Tampa. Tampa just rarely pops as a great team. They get there on individual talent, but when you're playing DFS, it's all about, at least in NHL, you want to look at the whole picture as well as the individual, because guys aren't going to shoot 20% all year. You know what I mean? So, well, Kucherov might, but who knows? But with that all being said, Tampa's a great play, but I don't know if I'm going to go here with the high price centers. The reason I say that is because the high price centers I actually like more are a little bit cheaper down here with John Tavares and Patrice Bergeron. So both these guys have awesome matchups like we talked about. Buffalo and New Jersey both ranked towards the bottom in high danger chances against over the past 60. And both these guys are just asked to do so much. I'll talk about the Tavares thing every single slate. It seems like I've mentioned him. The fact that he averages almost 8 individual high danger chances, 4 per 60, puts him in play every single night. And the fact that Toronto has a team total of 4, not much to say about him. He's a great play. And then Patrice Bergeron is just underpriced. There's no way that there should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 centers priced higher than him. Again, on a slate where Boston is projected to score as well 4 goals versus a New Jersey team that has just been abysmal since the trade deadline. So those are kind of the high price guys I'm looking at, but this mid price range of center is fairly interesting. I can definitely admit to that. I think the guy that I'm kind of looking at right now is Vincent Trocheck. He seems like he's been rounding into form a little bit. Obviously, he was hurt a big chunk of the year, so he was trying to work up that chemistry with his line mates. I think that's starting to form. You can see typically a good indication of if a guy's rounding into form. You can tell by their shots on goal. So as you see, we have 3, 2, 7, 4 shots on goal, 5, 5, 3. So he is shooting the puck, and he's a guy that does shoot the puck with an iCorsi 4 per 60, a little bit over 14, which is what we're looking for. Carolina, again, a team, if we filter by high danger, that's goals against. If we filter by high danger chances against, they rank 13th over the past 10 games. Just yesterday when I filtered this, I believe they were 7th or 8th. So, or it was a couple of days ago. So they had a good defensive game in between that. But that's to say that it's basically to say that they can be scored on. There's a little bit of reverse line movement again, or not reverse line movement. Sorry, there's just a little bit of line movement against Florida. Nothing I would be too overly concerned about. I think Florida's quite underpriced on this slate. And there's a few other guys from that team that we'll talk about going on. But that's enough on a center. One thing I will mention is that Derek Stepan is going to miss this game, so we don't have word yet as to who's going to replace him. If it's Dvorak or Richardson, whichever one of them gets the bump. It could be Nick Cousins as well. I'll let the members know in our Slack chat, obviously, but keep an eye out for that because whoever gets that bump is also in a good spot versus Detroit. Moving on to winger. All right, now we can talk about Tampa Bay. So Nikita Kucherov, 8K. And here's the case for Tampa Bay. I know I made the case for no Tampa Bay. I don't think you should not. I think you should have Tampa Bay in your lineup. They have a 4.6 team total. I haven't seen a favorite this big, I think, ever. And I believe they actually rose to over minus 500 in some places. So obviously Vegas likes them, and for good reason. I mean, Tampa's an amazing team. I just feel like they're a little overrated as far as their chances they generate offensively, which they are just based on the numbers. But if we filter by high danger chances against over the past 10 games, Ottawa still ranks 4th, and they're probably just going to skyrocket up that list because they're going to remain a really bad team the whole year. Like I've talked about, the only 2 good players left on their team are Thomas Chabot and Brady Tkachuk. Both those guys are elite offensive talents, or not elite. Chabot's elite. Brady Tkachuk will be an elite offensive talent. Both of them are great offensive talents and bad defensively. So this is definitely a spot Tampa Bay could absolutely explode. I think if I am paying up for someone in the winger, it's obviously going to be Nikita Kucherov here. I don't see much reason to fade him on a slate that doesn't have Brent Burns, on a slate that doesn't have Alexander Ovechkin. I think going with one of the high-priced centers, maybe a mid-price guy, maybe a Kucherov, that's a good sort of build to give you real high floor, real high upside. Scrolling down a little bit farther, though, I know this video is going on quite long. One guy I want to talk about, actually 2 guys. One guy is Patrick Hornquist, still just too underpriced on Pittsburgh. He got that promotion to the first line with Sidney Crosby, and ever since then, he's just been doing Patrick Hornquist things, shooting the puck, getting set up beautifully by one of the greatest playmakers of all time, Sidney Crosby. And he's that net front presence on the first unit power play, which is something we're always looking to take advantage of. So love Patrick Hornquist tonight, and just take advantage of that underprice for now. And the next guy I'm going to talk about is right here, and it's not Joel Armia, although that Joel Armia hat trick yesterday made me a lot of money on FanDuel, so shout out Joel Armia. Joel Armia is still a good play just because of his first unit power play correlation and stuff, but the guy I want to talk about is Andres Palat. Pardon me if I pronounced that name wrong, but he's skating on the wing with Steven Stamkos, which is a cushy role to be in. But the more important thing here is that we filter this by power play and scroll me up. If we filter this by power play, we see that he is getting run on that first unit power play. And when you look at the guys that he's skating with, he's just in such an elite role to put up a couple points. If Tampa scores 6 goals, I think both lines will be involved. I think Palat will be involved, and I think getting him at 3.9 is a steal of a price. So that'll do it for winger. Moving on to defense. Again, no Brent Burns, so the high price range is a little bit funky. Obviously, Victor Hedman manning that first unit power play. Same with Morgan Riley. I kind of view him similarly. Tough to differentiate one. I'd probably go a little bit with Morgan Riley because he shoots the puck a bit more. Giordano also in an elite spot versus a Minnesota team that's not been as good defensively, missing Mikko Koivu, missing Zach Parise, and we know Minnesota allows a lot of chances to the blue line. which for those of you who are new to hockey means defenseman. So Mark Giordano could benefit from an increased shot floor, which would give him an increased floor in general. And then scrolling down a little bit farther, though, one guy I want to mention, Justin Schultz, still benefiting from the Chris Letang injury, getting power play 1 run, as well as just a crazy amount of time on ice. It's getting close to 30 minutes these games. So love him at 4.4. Still a value on FanDuel as well. So definitely look there. And then the last guy is Aaron Ekblad. I told you guys I'd mention more Florida. So it's going to be Aaron Ekblad for me here. 3.9K. The guy's skating monster minutes. 22, 24, 28, 27. And he's a fantasy-friendly player. He always has been. He shoots the puck at a decent rate, although it's down a bit this year. But he blocks shots. He does shoot the puck, and he records points. He's a good offensive defenseman. He's getting power play time and crazy time on ice. So love the spot for him as well. Moving on to goalie. I'm not going to talk too much about goalie, as you guys know. All I'm going to say is look at your team, see what, come lock, see how many players of a certain team you're on, and then correlate your goalie with that team so that if your players do well, which ideally they will because you put them in your team, then your goalie will also get the win. So that's all I'm really going to say about that. And with that all being said, guys, thank you so much for checking out this video. As always, like, comment, and subscribe. You'll be entered into our weekly giveaway. And I hope you win a ton of money tonight, and I will see you tomorrow. Peace.